This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground. Danielle will be here shortly, but in the studio right now is the man that is the Prime Minister of the Sinister, Greg Bowen. Greg, how are you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
That's good. It's good. You're very hulky today.
Not sure if I'm hungover or still drunk.
Nice. Nice. Very nice. That's good. That's huge. That's unbelievable what you've done. You got drunk, and it's unbelievably huge.
You got to do that while she's not here.
Exactly.
You're not going to get by with it later.
No. She might walk out on that one.
She might hit you.
Maybe. At this point, she might. I
think she's given you enough warnings.
Yeah. For some reason, she just doesn't like the Trump, I don't know why. That doesn't even sound like him anymore.
No.
I'm too tired to
You sound more like the car salesman.
I almost sound more like Bernie Sanders.
Speaking of which, I saw people sign waving for Bernie Sanders on the way here this morning.
Where at?
People, they were at the corner of 19 and Curlew, I believe it was.
So down in Pinellas.
Yeah, down in Pinellas. I actually noticed that I stopped at the red light, and I noticed all the people over there sign waving, and I was like, oh, look, they're all out there letting everybody know how economically illiterate they are. I thought it was pretty cool.
Sign waving for Bernie today. Why?
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on.
I guess they got fired up by the Republican debates.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I got to tell you, that thing was a 3-hour free-for-all.
Yeah, after we did the last one, since we weren't, you were out of town and Danielle was busy as well, and we didn't do the live stream. I didn't even watch it at all.
Well, I didn't watch. Here's the thing: I didn't watch all of it, but I watched some of it, and it was a free-for-all. It was huge. This was unbelievably huge. Well, first off, you had all those guys on stage, and they were all sweating because of the way where they did that, which was like in the Reagan Library out where like they do it in front of Air Force One,
right?
And I think it's inside, but I think because of with so many people in that room and that it's they got the big lights and all that stuff that after a while all these guys are up there sweating. And they were up there for 3 hours. Like, it was a 3-hour free-for-all debate, man. The moderators weren't good at all. Jay Tapper, who's actually, I will say, I think is a decent, media guy, is not a good moderator of a debate. Because it was just literally a free-for-all. Everybody was talking almost whenever they wanted to talk. Nobody was keeping time. Everybody was just saying whatever they wanted to say. And, it was weird, though, because, I think that Trump insults these people, but if they overcome the insult, that he actually is happy.
So he's like slow pitching to him.
I don't know if he's slow pitching to him, but, it almost seems like sometimes that dude is happy. Like, when Jeb, there was one part where they asked everybody what would their White House nickname be or their presidential nickname? Because, all of them have, the code word.
Right.
They asked Bush what his code word was going to be, and he said Energizer. Because it's high energy. And,
yeah, that's exactly
Trump
what I get.
He was like, that was a good one. That was a good one. And he put his hand out to high-five him, and Jeb Bush, about as hard as he could, smacked that dude on the hand. Smacked him. I mean, smacked his ass right on. He's like, bam. Whoa! Man, what the hell are you doing?
He was showing how high energy he was.
Trump touched Carson. Look, Trump touches the person to the left and to the right of him. He'll touch him, which, I've never seen that before. This guy's just doing things, and I'm like, what the hell is that? So, also, Donald Trump, no idea what's in the Communist Manifesto, by the way. In case you didn't know. Because they got a graduated tax. A graduated tax is not socialist. We've been having it for a long time.
Yeah, actually it
Yeah,
is.
no, it's a plank on the Communist Manifesto, you moron. She's like, okay, obviously, once again, no idea what you're talking about. You know,
I think the only book he has ever read is The Art of the Deal.
it might be because the Constitution, communism, none of this stuff actually, makes a lick of difference for this guy.
He may not have read the Communist Manifesto or Mein Kampf or any of that, but he certainly seems to know it all.
Yeah, it's like it's natural to him.
Because he wants a fascist, communist hybrid government.
Yeah, I want something that's going to be unbelievable. Look, when I'm president, everything will work out. All right, I'm just going to make it all happen. I got magic pixie dust right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the magic pixie dust all over the economy, and then it's just going to grow. It's going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
I want the government to be huge.
I want it to be so friggin' huge. I actually think he used the word friggin' too. I don't remember. I didn't see that part, but somebody told me that he used the word friggin', which I thought was great. You know what I mean? Like, for entertainment value, it was absolutely worth it. However, I will say this. It is the scariest that there might be somebody on that stage that actually is going to win the presidency.
Yeah, I think that is the scariest thing, is that one of those could potentially be sitting in the White House.
And and if that happens, we are going to war.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Luckily, like the worst of the worst, like Huckabee, like that guy doesn't have a shot. And unfortunately, somebody that would probably not take us all the way to war, which is Paul, doesn't have a shot either. And boy, I tell you what, Trump loves digging on Paul. Boy,
He does.
I shouldn't even be on the stage.
I didn't watch it, but I saw pieces of it, and I saw people talking about it, and people were talking as if first thing Donald Trump did was start insulting Rand, and
Because
just
the first
kind
thing that Rand did was start insulting Trump.
Well, yeah. If anybody deserves it, it's him.
Yeah.
All he does is throw out insults all day.
Well,
you,
yeah.
you would think he's actually an insult comic. It's like he showed up to roast these candidates, not to actually run for president himself.
Yeah, they stuck him in the middle of the stage to do it.
He's just roasting the country. That's what this is at this point.
He's playing a joke on the whole country. That's for damn sure.
He's trolling the country.
Yeah, he is.
Don't feed the troll.
They've overfed him. They have overfed this cat boy. But overall, actually, because from everything I watched, overall, taking ideology out of it, just purely looking at the debate itself, it looked like Fiorina won it. And actually, she's the one that probably made Trump look a little bad. Because she said some things that Trump couldn't give a response to. And Fiorina was very witty about it because she used some of the things that were being talked about on the stage that Trump had said and turned it around and put it right back on him. And you could almost tell, like, once again, he was like, man, that bitch got me. She got me. All right, she got me. So it was definitely interesting. But again, it only cemented that, it is a clown car circus. There is nobody. I am very afraid of just about everybody on that stage if they become president, because we are going to war with Iran if it's anybody but Paul.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Kasich. I don't think Kasich is necessarily there, even though he's kind of there. And maybe not Christie.
Oh.
But the rest, yeah, we're going to war.
I don't know what happened in that debate, but I don't know what suddenly makes you think Christie is not taking us to war.
Well, with Iran.
Oh.
With Iran. Well, and Rubio was like, they talked about, ISIS and Syria and all this other stuff. And it's just amazing the just the basically lying that they're doing, when they talk about this thing's going on. Like, none of them will admit that we armed ISIS.
Right.
Like it's somehow not a fact.
Right.
Like, I think that one of the part that kills me on these things is, like, it is literally a fact that we did this, and somehow, a-holes like the Rube can just get away with lying. And nobody calls them out on it. The reporters don't call them out on it. Nobody calls them out on the line. That was the thing. The CNN people would force get an answer to a question on something that was like inconsequential. Like, what did Donald Trump say about you? What Donald Trump said about you on the in the papers, what's your reaction? And they wouldn't really answer the question. And they're like, well, we really want what you think about this. And then they say something else. No, you're not answering the question. But like real policy substantive stuff, no follow-ups whatsoever. Just none. It was the most, it's CNN, who had it was the highest rated show, because it was a train wreck though, really should be embarrassed of themselves for actual journalism or to actually hold a debate really on the issues, because they didn't do it. Not that Fox did any better, but CNN should really be embarrassed they should be embarrassed for themselves,
Absolutely.
It was not huge. They were pathetic.
So people were saying that they thought Carly Fiorina won the debate.
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
Yeah. No. I think she was the one that actually pulled it through.
And I understand that she went on a tirade about Planned Parenthood as well.
Yeah, I don't really remember that part as well, but she did go through some kind of a tirade on something like that. But they're all doing it though. Like they're all doing the tirades.
Oh yeah, and they're all jumping on Planned Parenthood. I mean, if she wants to close Planned Parenthood so bad, she should just apply for CEO. Did I get you on that one? Brought up some phlegm with that one.
That was funny. Look, the one thing, and they're all talking about this Planned Parenthood thing, but the one thing is, look, man, if you've watched any of those videos, man, those things are horrifying. Like there ain't no getting around it. It's like, again, it's one of those things where if you watch how the sausage is cooked, you may not, or how the sausage is made, you may not be buying sausage anymore. This is another one of those things where those videos are, they're tough to watch. I mean, maybe you don't have a problem with it, but
yeah, I didn't find them as offensive and horrific as everybody else. But then again,
I did, man. I did. I thought they were, they were like, whoa. But at the same time, look, the money that they're getting is not for abortions per se. It's for the Medicaid stuff. So, hey, look, for seeing people. So, in one aspect, you want to stop that from happening, then you're going to have to stop Medicaid. And there's nobody on that stage that has the testicular fortitude to even remotely even put that one out there.
Right.
They're just not going to do it.
No, they're neocons.
No, it's not even that they have a problem with the government doing this stuff. The problem that they have is that they're not doing it exactly the way that they want to do it, and they can't make any money off of it.
Yeah.
Too many times in this world, people do things because they're trying to make money off of it. And while, look, I think that, capitalism is a great thing and that you should go out there and make a good product in order to make money and have good voluntary exchanges, if you're trying to create laws to give yourself an advantage over other people, that's crony capitalism. It's corporatism. And that's completely wrong. It's antithetical to what we should be doing here in a free country. And unfortunately, we have a bunch of authoritarian psychopath politicians and Donald Trump, who's an authoritarian psychopath himself, who have used the government in order to enrich themselves. And for other people to go, well, he's the great deal maker. Hey, look, that guy loved him some eminent domain. So he loved using the government to force people off of their own land.
Yeah.
So before anybody's like, well, Donald Trump's a real capitalist now. Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, had the best education, and still came out sounding like a dumbass. Sure, he's got good art of the deal because he's got a quick wit about him. You know what? That is a positive feature about somebody. But having a quick wit and being a complete freaking liar doesn't make you a president. It makes you a clown. Go back on The Apprentice. Oh, I'm sorry, you lost that job to an immigrant.
Totally.
When he said the thing about the graduated tax and how that's not socialist, I was like, are you kidding?
No.
Do you have any idea what you're even talking about up there, you dumbass?
No, he doesn't.
No, he absolutely doesn't. He's just a moron. And that's the thing. Look, if you insult him, he comes back at you. But if you just let him talk, I've watched his speeches, man. He doesn't say anything of substance.
No, he doesn't.
Nothing. There's nothing of substance there. When Jindal came out with that, he had a press conference where he talked about Donald Trump and went after him. And he had to read it. He didn't even, he didn't come from his heart. He read it. But everything he said was true. The guy's got no substance. There's nothing there. And it's coming out. Now, is it going to come out enough? I don't know. It might not. It's tough to say sometimes. But he is a moron. I mean, not he's an idiot savant. When it comes to deal making and when it comes to being on TV and when it comes to, having a back and forth with somebody, he's good. He's real good. When it comes to actually knowing some stuff about how government works, he doesn't know. Other than the deals he's made.
Well, he knows government.
The people he bought.
Yeah, he knows government from his side. He knows how to purchase politicians, how to grease the wheels from the business side, using government to manipulate society and the economy. But he doesn't know the other side of actually being a part of the government.
Yeah, no, definitely doesn't know those things. However, like I said, it was interesting to watch this stuff, but I think today might even be almost the hypocrite show. We'll see what happens with some of the articles Danielle wants to talk about. But
well, I'm a hypocrite.
But speaking of that, though, the fair districts thing, right? We've talked about fair districts before, right? Mm-hmm. And now, if you're listening to the show and you don't know what fair districts is in Florida, there was a constitutional amendment that was passed, a couple of them actually, called fair districts, and what it meant is that they had to not gerrymander the lines, like the congressional maps. Oh, push the button.
Button's on. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I pushed the button. All right, I pushed the button. Did you bring me something to drink?
You didn't tell me you needed something.
Normally it's a given.
But since I've been driving far, that it's not a given. You have to tell me in advance.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry.
In case you guys haven't figured it out, Danielle's in here.
Oh yeah.
You probably did witness the crash of Alex's train of thought when it derailed and she walked in. But you're probably wondering why he just stopped what he was saying and started talking to somebody else.
Yeah. All right. Let me get back to this. Right. So, fair districts is this thing that was supposed to be nonpartisan, and what it was is to say that we have to, they can't gerrymander the lines anymore, that they have to draw them fair. And so we've had a lot of issues with the legislature, rightfully so, by the way, that the legislature has been gerrymandering these districts. They use consultants, and they hid all this information until it finally came out to the open. And then once it came out to the open, they threw the maps out. So fair districts basically sued the legislature to get them to change their districts. And they're in the middle of the court battle right now. So, in open court, it had to come to light that the people that are part of fair districts went to the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee for consultant work on their maps.
Well,
here's the thing.
So much for that nonpartisan.
Yeah. So, exactly. So much for that nonpartisan. Here's the thing. You fair districts people are hypocrites. You're scumbag, lying hypocrites because you sold this bill of goods as a nonpartisan thing. So you understand how much the people hate what's going on with politics right now and use that to hide the Democrats doing the same things that the Republicans are doing. What really angers me about this is that right now you're dealing with a massive amount of disenchanted voters. People that think that it's all screwed up, it's all messed up, it's all bad.
You mean disenfranchised voters?
Disenchanted? Disenfranchised? Okay. Disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised.
There's a bunch of disenfranchised voters. They use language like that, like the actual language, not the word I got
not the stuff he makes up as he goes along.
Yeah, but they use that stuff in order to promote their actual, to promote what they were trying to do. But their real agenda was just to be able to get more Democrats elected, and is willing to damage things that are nonpartisan in order to advance their scumbag, hidden Democrat agenda. And it really pisses me off because, again, there's people out there that actually try to do nonpartisan things.
Yes.
That actually make an effort to say, okay, let's take the parties out of it, let's focus on the issue, and let's go with it from there. And what they've done is made sure that more people won't believe that when it actually is there because they just got sold a bill of goods and lied once again.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably the thing that I think angers me the most about it. It really is, like, you guys really suck. You guys really, really, really suck. and you got caught. They were going to try to hide this. Like they were like trying to block them from being able to say who was involved with making their maps. But they want total transparency from the legislature. Now, here's the thing. I agree with them on the side for the legislature. Like, you're right. They've screwed this thing up really, really bad. They were horrible for doing it. They're a bunch of scumbags, too. But you're even worse because you'll call them out and you won't even do it the right way yourselves. You bring in the Democrat Congressional Committee. How dare you? How dare you call yourselves that? I really wish that the judge would throw the whole thing out and just let them use the maps. Just use the Republican maps at this point.
You lose.
Like you've shown that you are not worth anything. So you just go ahead and lose right now. That's what they ought to do. I mean, they're not going to do it, but they're not. I don't think they're going to use their maps either, though, because everybody's got a map right now. You know, everybody's got a map.
You've got a map. You've got a map. Everybody gets a map.
Yeah, everybody gets a map, and the judge has got to figure out which map he wants to use. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how the thing is going to end up or which map they're going to use, but I got to tell you, man, it's sad that that's what goes on. And this is the first week of committee weeks. Speaking of Tallahassee and legislators.
Did you guys talk about the debate yet?
We did a little bit, but
Well,
we can bring it back.
How can I come in and within 10 minutes you guys have already gone through the debate and switched subjects?
Well, for one, I didn't watch it, so it was mostly him, like, kind of giving a review when I was commenting.
Bounce off to? I got nothing to go with here.
Yeah. Plus, he got his voices out of his system while you were out of studio. So.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it's only 10 minutes, like, you guys should still be almost on, like, banter.
We
It's
would.
10:20. It's 9:23.
Yeah, but I got in here 10 minutes ago.
I don't think you got in here 10 minutes.
I did get in here 10 minutes ago.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did at all. I don't think it's 9:23 right now. We'll have to go back to the tape later on and take a look at that because it's all on tape. It's all on video. So we'll have to go back and look at that. I'll let the video exonerate me once again.
Yeah. It seems to be your theme for
Yes,
the week.
it does seem to be the theme for the week. Hey, if you do want to go to let's go back to the debate though. We can go back.
We can bring it
No,
back.
you can't go back.
Yeah, we can.
Absolutely can go back. We can do whatever the hell we want to do.
These are airwaves
And
here.
damn right. If I want to sit here and fart on the air for an hour, I'm going to fart on the air for an hour.
Or we won't have any listeners
Yeah, I
anymore.
mean,
And it's really not that different from what he does anyway.
Oh wow!
I'm just messing with
Wow,
you.
that was rough.
I'm sorry. I told you, I'm not sure if I'm hungover or still drunk.
You blame that on the alcohol?
Yeah.
Blame it on
It's totally the alcohol
Blame it
talking.
on the alcohol. All right, so
Okay, that's worse than the voices.
That is
You're gonna have
bad.
both of us against you. You start doing that stuff.
even I have to admit that one was bad.
That was bad.
All right, so let's go back to the debate though. So Danielle, what was give us your
No,
first
I have
thoughts
no
on the debate.
idea what you've already said.
So
That's what
give
I'm
us your
saying.
independent take on the damn debate.
I don't want
Do it.
to.
Do it. Do it.
Listen,
Do it.
I don't want to go back to the subject. You guys
Do
have
it.
already talked about it. Let's just move on.
Well, tell me how much you love Carly Fiorina.
No, I actually thought she did well.
You think she won?
I don't think. You know, you want to know who I think won the debate? Hillary.
Bernie Sanders.
It was a train wreck. Like, there was no actual debate. Everybody talked all at the same time. You never knew what was really going on, and nobody answered the actual question. Like, and this was the funniest thing is they'd ask a really specific, and it would be a very leading question, like, you know, Mr. Trump, Rand Paul has said you would be a disaster, and then Donald Trump be like, you know, I wrote a book. And it would have nothing to do with, and then he'd be like, you know, well, you know, he's funny looking. And then they'd be like, Rand Paul, how do you respond? And he'd be like, I'd like to go back to the question 3 questions ago because you didn't let me answer that one. And it was like,
Yeah, Jay Tapper can't handle that stuff, boy. Can't handle that stuff as well.
and he would ask a question and someone would just be like, excuse me, I'd like to talk on that. And he'd be like, we'll get to you. And they'd just keep talking. And he'd be like, "Oh, okay."
These guys are disasters. Again, I tweeted this out while the debate was on. I wouldn't trust these guys to change the oil in my car, let alone run the country at this point.
Like, and you have
None of them.
the front runners, which is Trump and Jeb and Carson. And I swore it sometimes Carson was like channeling his inner Michael Jackson. Like, come on, guys.
It's so ignorant.
Let's just get along
You're being
and put
so
these
ignorant.
things together. And he'd always he'd be really soft spoken where you're like, what the hell is he saying?
Yeah. Like somebody kicked this dude in the ass, man, to get him started.
And then Donald Trump and Jeb Bush, like, what an embarrassment, because it was like, you came to Florida and wanted to open casino. Did not. Did do. Did not. It is true. No, it's not true. I told you it is true. Don't make stuff up. I'm not making stuff up. I was like, I'm waiting for well, I'm rubber and you're glue.
Yeah. That's a fair description of the events that happened.
And it just seemed like they did that like 3 or 4 different times.
No, it was preschool up there.
Vote Donald Trump for student body president.
Of the first grade.
Yeah.
First grade class president. He has the least amount of paint spread all over the place.
I mean, seriously, it was just I couldn't believe that this is what we're looking at for a presidential debate. It's like nothing says presidential like did not, did do. I know. Seriously.
You get more intellectualism out of monkeys flinging poo at the zoo.
Yeah. You know what it is? I'm really waiting to make my decision after the swimsuit competition.
I want to see the talent show, though.
Oh, we haven't seen that already? No.
I haven't witnessed
Crap.
any talent.
Crap. I think they were trying, though.
No, it was such a joke, and I was so just I got to the point where because we couldn't be on air because everybody was in a different city.
Yeah. We wanted to, but talk about a remote.
Logistics were a problem. And I just started literally just making fun of them on, putting stuff out on Facebook, just completely making fun of them. At one point, Ted Cruz really did sound like Nathan Lane, and then I found a picture of the two of them that looked exactly the same.
Yes.
And was like, come on, someone's got to be expecting this guy to talk about, come break out into song from the birdcage. Someone has to see this.
Yes, although I would rather see Ted Cruz chasing a mouse through a dilapidated mansion because that's more fitting his character.
Than the birdcage one?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
I'd like to see him.
Have
in
you
like
ever
a
seen the
dress.
movie Mousetrap? That's what that was a reference to.
Yeah, no, I know the movie. I know the other movie reference you're talking to, but it'd just be nice to see him in drag, though.
We probably have that picture somewhere.
I would like to see him in drag.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
because
funny.
honestly, and he always says something like he's talking to a bunch of kindergartners, which I get it. When you have Jeb Bush and Donald Trump on the stage, you can be confused.
Well, hey, look, I listened to the cheers of what those people in that audience were cheering and not cheering, and I think that the kindergartners weren't only on the stage.
No, not at all.
But
Absolutely not, you morons.
I do think that Carly Fiorino had the quote of the night when she was coming about when they asked about Donald Trump's quote about look at her, who would vote for that. And she said, you keep telling Jeb Bush that you've heard all the words he said. Well, every woman in America has heard what Donald Trump has said, and left it at that. Just boom, done.
Yeah, that was a mic drop.
Yeah, that was a mic drop.
That was the mic drop moment because he couldn't say nothing.
He was just like,
Yeah. Well, because he's already said everything.
It's like I think you're a beautiful woman, Carly. That's what he would go with.
Yeah.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Yeah.
You're just so beautiful.
Yeah, you say that now when she's standing right next to you, but when you're...
Look, I'm surprised you go, look, I'd have sex with you right now. I would do you right now.
But
I'll get a divorce and marry you.
I'll divorce you in a week, but I'll keep you for a whole week.
But no, so I thought she had I thought that of all of them, she looked the most. I think she looked like the adult. I didn't agree with what she was saying many times over, but at least she wasn't going, did not.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think Rand Paul did much better. When I did tune in a little late, so when I first tuned in, he was very combative about Donald Trump, which I was like, oh, here we go again. But I think he kind of recovered. He did actually start making some good points, and he started making them in a good way. So I think he did much better this debate than he has previous. But I do have to say that I think the person who did the best was Carly Fiorino, although, like I said, I disagree vehemently with a lot of her positions. Just, I thought that as everyone's bickering and going back and forth and having that, third grade, and not even third grade, they're much more mature. That's an insult to third graders. But as they were doing the bickering back and forth, she kind of stayed very much out of that. But when she did cut in, and she wouldn't let go, when she was like, no, I have something to say. And they're like, we'll get to you. And she was like, no, I have something to say. But at least when she would do that, she actually sounded like she could put a whole complete sentence together and thought.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I did want to say, though, because we talked about the casino thing.
What casino? Like, how many subjects did you get to in the first time?
No, the Trump Jeb casino
thing.
debacle.
Okay.
All right, here's the thing. In reality, though, because at the end of the day, you want to know who's lying and who's telling the truth.
Jeb was telling the truth.
Yeah, Jeb was telling the truth,
was.
and Trump was lying.
Yeah, like straight out, full on lying.
Oh, yeah.
Unapologetically, no way to cover it up. Yes, you were lying.
And it was in the papers when this happened.
Yeah.
So I had remembered it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Trump is totally just completely lying about it. Jeb is correct.
Yeah, that's the thing. And people in the other 49 states may not know this, but most of us here in Florida knew that Jeb was right and Trump was lying.
Yeah.
Because that was big news here.
Oh, yeah. No, it was everywhere. And Trump's like, if I wanted a casino, it'd be there. No, you did want a casino, and it is not here.
That's the only place that the Indians rule right now.
Exactly. You may be a billionaire, but you ain't an Indian.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. If you want to open a casino in Florida, you're not doing it unless you are on Indian land.
Yep.
And the Indians are not just going to let Donald Trump come in and open a casino. They're going to do it themselves.
I wouldn't think they're going to do that.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, the Indians won't let other Indians open casinos.
Yeah.
Right. The Indians are like, yeah, I know you're an Indian tribe, but no, you don't get.
You're not going to get recognized by the government. Oh, you've been up there for 125 years, 150 years? No, you ain't getting it.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Indian tribes actually got along better before they had casinos.
Why, how is government always screwing all this stuff up?
They'll find a way.
Like, not only did the government screw up the Indian thing because they killed most of them, but then they're making them fight amongst themselves because of the damn casino crap.
It's ridiculous.
Damn it, you.
Yeah. No, so I knew exactly when Trump said it. I was like, no, he's totally lying.
Totally.
Yep. Now completely lying. All right. Well, let's take a break here real quick. I have to get a drink. Danielle,
I failed as a partner here.
well, I wouldn't say all that, but I just think that, like I said, I needed a drink.
She's Wikipedia, not your server.
That's right. She's a very strong woman who is very worthy of being in charge of everything. There you go. Let's take a break here real quick to listen to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or TackleMyTicket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back. Liberty Underground, 1787 Radio Network. By the way, if you want to call the program, 1-800-525-4032, 1-800-525-4032. I would say this, though. Don't let my being tired mistake you for not being able to yell at you if you call and say something stupid.
Mistake you?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I'm the one that woke up drunk, and he's the one that can't talk.
Like,
I drove from Jacksonville last night, man. Give me a break.
yeah, and you know,
I sat in the car
he
for a
was
while.
he was like disenchanted. I'm like, what are we, like fairy godmothers? Like, I'm enchanting this.
I
I am disenchanting.
Hello, Amora.
Seriously.
All right, so let's get into this.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Sorry. Don't be so ignorant. All right, so this is an article. It's from the Daily Beast, actually. So Petraeus wants to use Al-Qaeda fighters to beat ISIS. So to take down the so-called Islamic State in Syria, the influential former head of the CIA, by the way, the guy that should know that we armed all of them, wants to co-opt jihadists from America's arch foe. So, like,
I want to co-op jihadists.
Co-op jihad?
Like, so hold on a second here. The organization that's responsible for making sure that ISIS had the arms, had the weapons so they could go into Iraq and grab the rest of the weapons, and the organization that's responsible for arming Al-Qaeda wants to go in there and say we're going to give the Al-Qaeda... Hold on. They're calling this the so-called moderate members of Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front to fight ISIS in Syria.
How could this possibly go wrong?
Yeah, this is brilliant.
Because when you wanted to topple Assad and you armed all the Syrian rebels that then became ISIS, that worked out so well.
Yeah. So let's go back in there and arm the Nusra Front, who's absolutely a terrorist organization. Look, at this point, shouldn't he be thrown in jail for treason? I thought that arming our enemies was something that was a treason offense. They want to throw Snowden in jail because they gave information on actually what they're doing so they could stop the CIA from lying. But if the CIA wants to arm the bad guys, somehow, well, that's just a policy position. That's just a tactic.
So if our soldiers actually were to just stop and be like, oh, hey, Al-Qaeda dude, hey, you want some weapons? I got some extra. That would be a problem.
But you got to go kill those other bad guys who you're probably friends with over there.
Please don't turn the gun on me and shoot me. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't do what you've done every other time before we've given you weapons. This time we're going to trust you, though.
Maybe Al-Qaeda's weapons are just getting a little old. They're outdated.
I think they got more advanced technology than we're giving our own troops at this point.
Maybe it's just from, granted, we started that war in 2001, 2002. It's, 10, 13 years old. They're just like, hey, you know what? These guys are really fighting with some outdated stuff. We got way cooler toys. So let's just arm them with the cooler stuff, and then hopefully they will fight the guys that we armed with the cooler stuff than the first time they got it, but not as cool as what we can give them now stuff, and this will work out. This is a good plan.
Hold on. This is a quote from Petraeus when somebody actually called him out on what he said, by the way. So just I want you to hear this. This is a quote from Petraeus, all right? We should under no circumstances try to use or co-opt Nusra, an Al-Qaeda affiliate in Syria, as an organization against ISIL, Petraeus said. But some individual fighters and perhaps some elements within Nusra today have undoubtedly joined for opportunistic rather than ideological reasons. They saw Nusra as a strong horse, and they haven't seen a credible alternative as the moderate opposition has yet to be adequately resourced. Hold on a second here. Okay, look, I used to actually have a little bit of respect for Petraeus, and I have now think that he is taking the Donald School approach to foreign policy. Well, actually, he's taking the neocon / Donald Trump school policy. So we're not, by no means do I say we should do this, but we should totally do it.
So it's like,
moron.
Hey, we don't want the guys who are really diehard fans of ISIS. We want the guys that, just like to win.
Yeah.
we want the bandwagon guys.
It's like, here's what it's like. I don't want the people that are independents that vote for, I don't want the regular Republicans and the regular Democrats that vote for Democrats and Republicans all the time. I want the independents who can't make up their freaking mind and go ahead and vote for either Republicans or Democrats and just switch it over because they only want to vote for the winner.
No, what he's doing is he's looking for the guys who have a closet full of NFL jerseys from each team that won the Super Bowl over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's what he's looking for. No, that's totally what it is.
Yeah, because those bandwagon guys are worth it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because they'll never leave you.
Yeah. As long as we stay the winners, they're going to be on our side.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. This is unbelievable. Again,
General Petraeus.
Hold on. Now, from now on, moving forward, whenever they say, well, we need to listen to the generals, I'm going to be like, well, are you sure? Because the Petraeus is a moron.
Quite frankly, I'd rather listen to Captain Crunch. Because these guys don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, at least they put crunch berries in there. You know what I'm saying? That's a good thing.
There is some old G.I. Joe toys we have in a closet. We could pull them out. They would definitely make some better decisions.
Unbelievable, dude. I'm telling you, dude, this is I mean, come on now. Really? Get out of there.
Like, nobody thought of this before. Like, this isn't what got us into this situation. If we arm both sides and get them fighting each other, this will work out for us. Yeah. That's what we've been doing for like 50 years in the Middle East. And now they're all very well armed and very pissed off and pointing all those guns at us.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Well, no, and they used all the guns to go to Iraq to get all the rest of the stuff that we left for them. The billions of dollars of equipment and arms, they're using all of that stuff. Again, this is not, we're not making this up, by the way. This is what actually freaking happened that no one on that stage the other night would even admit to. And that's the sad part. Like, even Paul didn't say it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like this is the first time this has happened. It's not like arming ISIS is some kind of aberration that we've never seen before. Because pretty much since the advent of the internet, you can do a search for Islamic militants, and you'll find pictures of guys rallying holding M16s. Now, I don't know if the rest of you people understand where those come from, but M16s are not the ones made in China.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. What the CIA likes to do a lot of times, though, is through a third-party buyer, buy a bunch of AKs and give them AKs, too, though.
Right.
So even those AKs are coming
Even
from
the
us.
AKs, but at least the AKs, you can't say from the picture, oh, we armed these guys. I mean, when they're holding M16s,
Yeah,
it's
those
like
are ours.
there's only one group that armed them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't Al Nusra Front. And it wasn't Iran, by the way.
Yeah.
Eddie. You know, they get so mad at Iran. Well, Iran's been sponsoring terrorism for 30 years. You know, I got to tell you, I think we bought them more weapons than Iran has.
Yeah.
I really gotta say, when you go to who's giving them weapons, who's training them, who's giving them all the cool toys, Iran, not so much.
I think we have the part of our military budget that is dedicated to training Middle Eastern fighters and arming them is larger than Iran's entire military budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Unbelievable. This is just all, it's so unbelievable, by the way. Now, up in Tallahassee, we'll go from national to local
Yeah.
because I'm just all over the place
Because
here.
you're schizophrenic.
Gonna
today.
drop out the transmission
We're
shifting like this.
We're disenchanted today.
We're a little disenchanted today. But I will say this, you know, being up in today was like this week was like the first week of committee weeks. So, you know, for the next session, this was like the first week where they all go up there. And it is a little bit like the first day of school where people are getting to know each other and there wasn't a whole lot of people that were up there. There were some, but not a whole lot of people that were up there because one of the things that they did during this week was they announced that Richard Corcoran is going to be the next Speaker of the House. So he's now the Speaker designate, which in all reality, and you know, I was talking with John Holman about this, is that it's like the Speaker designate is more powerful than the current Speaker is.
Well, because you have a lame duck speaker right now.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess there's another way I was going to say it, though, is that he hasn't made the decision as to who's going to run what.
Right.
So it's kind of like the beginning of like the prom where, you know, like, hey, you know, you haven't made a decision yet, girl. Why don't you come over here? Let me talk to you. You know, so let's see if we can get together and you can hook me up. So that's what's going on. Well, that's going with politicians as well as the lobbyists. Now, I will say that one of the things that Corcoran is talking about, and look, if you've listened to this show for a long time, you know what we've said about Corcoran.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on record. It's well documented. Now, he's coming out talking about ethics reform, though. Like, he's coming out talking about the special interest influence and how that needs to change.
As he takes a bunch of special interest money.
Yeah, as he's taking. So
We need to stop these guys.
Stop getting this from
horrible.
my pocket.
Yeah, this is horrible. But he's talking about a lot of ethics reform and how they need to change the attitude up there and do all this other stuff. And I'm just like I'm almost amazed that he's got the nerve to say it. Like, considering the past, like we know about, how are you going to say this?
Listen, you know, I think it's something that he knows that is going to start being talked about. It gets talked about every election year because people get frustrated. There's all this money in there. So, you know, Will Weatherford and Don Gates, you know, went through their big reforms where they changed a bunch of names to stuff and then said it was different. You know, but and I think you're going to see him do the same thing. I mean, I think that there's some possibilities we may be able to push some reforms that he's not necessarily thinking, that he wasn't necessarily thinking was going to happen when he said that, but because people are going to be like, well, you said reforms and they've got a great plan here, so why don't we do that? But I think that we always hear about this. Well, we need, you know, campaign finance reforms, and we need ethics reforms, and we need to get the money out of politics as I line my pockets with money. I mean, you know.
Yeah, like as you literally are lying. Because what happens is the first week up there is a whole bunch of fundraisers.
Oh yeah, it's a give me your money week up in Tallahassee.
And so all the special interests and the lobbyists get invited to these parties, these fundraising events, and they pay off the politicians. That's what they're doing. Again,
Well, how can you start a legislative session without knowing exactly what legislation has been paid for?
No, it's a good point, by the way. That is a very good point, by the way.
Sorry, didn't mean to make sense there. It's not my forte.
I don't know why in the world you would ever come here to try to make sense of it. And it's just wrong, by the way. You should take it all back and apologize. You need to apologize to my mother. Apologize to her.
So, no, it's a big campaign fundraising week. So everybody goes up there. It's a short week in the session. So they only actually met for committees and stuff for like 3 days, but everybody was up there the whole week because everybody was throwing big lavish fundraisers because this is the Give Me Your Money week.
I will say this though, look, they were all up there, but they weren't in their offices
because they were off getting paid.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that I know they were. We walked around and like we were having a hard time finding lawmakers.
Right.
Like we were having, like, man, we want to go. Like you want to go talk to this person, this person, this person, this person, and you're like, where's he at? I went to see one, and I'll leave the senator's name blank for now. He's out front driving a Tesla. What?
He's out front driving a Tesla.
Well, the way that
let me tell you. Hold on. Let me tell you why though. Because on Thursday it was like every day is like they have event days. You know what I mean? And Thursday was electric car day. So they had a bunch of electric cars in the Capitol. In between the old and the new Capitol, they had a whole bunch of electric cars there, which looked like regular cars, by the way. It wasn't like anything special. But Tesla was one of the cars that was there. So I guess this senator, which again I'll leave nameless, was out. No, he's out driving a Tesla. I'm like, okay, all right, thanks, appreciate it.
I mean, at least they didn't say at least they didn't lie and be like, no, he's in an important meeting. They're like, nah, he's totally out there just playing around with the Tesla.
He's doing donuts in the Capitol parking lot.
Now that would have been cool. I would have gone down to see that. I actually went down to look at the cars because at that point we're like, well, let's go downstairs and see.
That's where all the lawmakers are.
Came for a legislative session, ended up at a car show.
Yeah. Oh, they had the big buses there too. It was all about electric. You know what I mean? Everything was electric that was there. It was all beautiful thing. And I will say the cars look good. They had a couple caddies out there that was just bomb, like just awesome looking cars. I was like, ooh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And it really is, and it gets worse when session actually starts. But everything has like a theme day, and it's like welcome, the group from over here, and welcome this group over there, and it's like everybody's over there, and there's always something going on in between the old and new Capitol building. There's always big tents out there, and someone's doing something. It's, Love Beef Day, and, you have all the cattle ranchers out there that are, lobbying for whatever they want, and they're barbecuing and stuff. It honestly, if you go up to Tallahassee a lot, you'll notice that it is a lot more like a themed county fair that replays every day than it actually is like a legislative session.
Yeah, it is a decent way to look at it. I mean, it is. Look, what they do is they bring all these groups up and they go up and have an experience day. Again, it's not something. I'd love for a libertarian. I'd love for the libertarians to go up there and have an experience day. Like that'd be awesome. It'd be like come understand how government works day and realize how screwed up it all is. But then again, you get a bunch of them up there, and they'd be even more angry with government than they already are.
Yeah.
The problem is, libertarians are really angry with the government, but they don't even understand how deep the corruption is sometimes themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I love the military days when you get, like, all the tanks and everything out in between. And, like, everything is camouflaged. Like, oh, yeah, well, you're hiding here. But, yeah, and then they have it, and they have all that. I mean, and everybody is out there. Like, don't get me wrong, there's activity going on in the building, but that in between those two buildings is packed.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of people.
Because that's where the cotton candy is.
FSU Day, everything is garnet and gold in the whole freaking building. Like, and there's just people everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's amazing. And then they have, the security guards in there that have the illusion of safety, like when they check people, like they're actually being able to actually find guns or something, which we have well documented that they don't know how to find guns very well.
And I went to 2 different security checkpoints and had a couple times each.
It was hot pink. How can you miss it?
They did.
Illusion of safety, folks. The illusion of safety.
But when you come through, and at that time they weren't used to seeing me, but now they are. So I come through and I'll put my stuff down. They don't even look. I'm like, hey guys, how's your morning doing? You know, like everyone's like, oh hey.
She could have a railgun in her briefcase. They wouldn't even care.
Just come through a lot and say hello. That's all they
maybe
care
they're
about.
doing us a favor because maybe they're hoping we take some of them out. I don't know.
They're like, oh, let that one through.
Yeah. No, let her go through. She's good. Hopefully she gets them.
She says good morning very nice to me every day.
This might be the day she loses her mind and kills our boss. That jerk. Let her in.
Yeah. Well, and look, I was actually in a good mood up there too most of the time.
That's because you weren't seeing any lawmakers.
That's true too.
That's true.
So I was going through, and John found a picture of his uncle, which was always fun.
He knows where the picture of his uncle is.
Yeah.
Because this is funny. The first session we went up there, that I went up there with John, this is a few years ago, and I go up there and I'm walking around with John, and he'd be like, oh, there's a picture. That's my uncle. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And we stop for a minute. There's his uncle. And then when you're lobbying, you pass the same hallways over and over and over again. So you're going back and forth all day long. You go over to the House side, someone says, well, you got to see this senator. You go over to that one, they're like, well, can you talk to this House member? So you're back and forth all day long. And every time we pass that picture, it'd be like, there's my uncle.
Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
Actually, because me and John were kind of cracking up with each other when we were there. He actually started pointing at pictures. He's like, I have no idea who that person is. He's like, I have no idea who that is. Because there are actually some neat pictures.
I'm not related to this guy.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I'd be like, hey, John, is that your uncle?
Actually, you know what's funny is as we were taking that one picture, we took a picture of John pointing at his uncle. I took a picture of it at this point. There was a woman that walked by, and when the woman walked by, I'm like, do you know who that is? That's his uncle. And she just looked at us like we had 5 heads and just kept walking.
Now, I will say that the first, they get up there, and Alex, who's not normally up there with John, normally I am, we get in there, we get to work, we're, okay, there's your uncle, let's keep going. And we're very, busy and doing stuff. Now, Alex is going up there for the first time to actually be there to, work.
Well, I'm just there to help John.
So he's there to okay, I'm your helper. Tell me what you want me to do. But at first, John's like, it's the first day here. I got to get around. I got to know what I need before I can tell you what to do. So Alex just starts taking pictures.
Yeah, I just started snapping pictures on Instagram.
So all of a sudden, I'm seeing picture after picture after picture on Instagram to the point where I text Alex and I'm like, are you actually being John's assistant or his photographer?
Because there was always pictures of John, not of me. Just of John.
Right.
So,
picture after picture of John.
Thankfully,
I saved my video for outside the camera.
Thankfully, we didn't get a day full of Alex selfies in Tallahassee.
Well, then when
would've been funny, though.
he gets John pointing at the picture, so now I'm like, oh, now John's in on it too. Nobody's working up there if I'm not there. Everybody's fooling around. I'm like, you guys are like teenage girls. Oh, it's good lighting, selfie time.
It was a lot of fun, though. I had a great time. I was having fun.
This is what happens when I don't go up there.
Alex is John's selfie stick.
I wish I had brought a selfie stick with me. It would have been really cool.
You were the selfie stick.
Oh, I was the selfie stick. That's not very nice. That's mean.
No, seriously.
It's not huge.
Now
It was accurate.
They did actually get a lot of work done, and I'm glad with what they got done. But for a little while, when I knew they first got in there, and I'm like, the hell are these two doing in there? I don't go up there, and they just decide they're gonna, walk around look, picture time, and let's take a picture of this guy.
People like pictures. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? People like pictures. So
Yes.
I took some pictures because people like them.
Every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Only for the first hour.
Like a 15-year-old
After that, I
girl
got
on her
all
first vacation.
Hey, look, I got them done early, so I have to deal with them later on. Again, being productive. Getting things done, being productive. All right, well, that's the hour, so let's go ahead and we'll just take a little bit of a break here, I think the first hour was huge, but that's just me.
I will leave. I'm tired. I want to nap. I will just walk out.
What did I say? What did I do? I don't know. All right, well, look, let's take a break. When we get back, we'll have Brandon on and a lot more fun. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
All right, we're back. Liberty Underground 1787 Radio Network. That wasn't an impersonation of Trump.
That was just weird.
Well,
That was just horrible.
there's no law against being weird, is there?
Well,
I mean,
no,
if there is,
I'm
then,
not,
if there is, we'll all be in jail in this
I'm
room.
not saying that there's a law against it. I'm just saying maybe you shouldn't do it.
You're criminally weird.
Driver's license registration, please. What's the offense, officer? Well, you're just kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
You're felony weird.
Did you see about the kid who was arrested for the clock?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, and I'm looking to see.
The school resource officer was clock blocking.
But so this it's his name is Ahmed Mohammed, and I cannot think of what school what.
It was in Texas.
Is it in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I knew it was Irving County, but I could not think of the state. So he basically, the kid loves engineering. He likes building things.
He's a smart kid.
He's really smart, loves science, loves engineering, and built, out of a few parts that he found and stuff, built a clock. And was really impressed with himself and really proud of himself that he did this without any instructions or anything. Like, he kind of figured it out on his own. And brought it to school to show his science teacher. And his science teacher looked at it and said, that's, it's really cool, but hey, someone might get the wrong idea, so put it in your backpack and don't take it out again. Well, later on in another class, he not only did he build a clock, but he built a clock with an alarm. So the alarm went off, and the teacher asked to pull out, he's like, well, I can just turn it off. The teacher asked, no, I want to see it. What is that alarm? and he pulls out the clock, which happened to be in a small, like, and you get these at Target. You can get these little cases at Target, but it's in like this small little case, and the teacher thought it was a bomb. And they called in resource officers and everyone else, and he ended up getting arrested. And the reason now
interrogating.
And the police chief was saying, well, you know, he wasn't giving us straight answers. He was only saying it's just a clock.
Yeah, because it's just a clock.
Because that was the answer.
He's clock blocking.
Now, because this kid was a Muslim, and because he looks like he's brown skin. He's a Muslim. I'm not saying to be racist. I'm just saying, he looks like
He's got brown skin. He's a Muslim.
He tripped over wires and he's got brown skin.
It ain't like Will Coley. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy's he ain't a redneck from Tennessee. His kid's a Muslim, right? So now everybody's making it out like he's he's a Muslim. That's why. Look, it doesn't really have as much to do with him being a Muslim though, as it has to do with zero tolerance policies in school though.
And that his teacher was an idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that moronic friggin' teachers. Again, I think that the teacher should be fired for being a moron, because how can you even teach anybody if this is what you got going on here? And again, who's gonna bring a clock? Like this ain't Looney Tunes, man. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
I just thought the funniest thing was when the police chief was like, well, he just wasn't giving us straight answers. Just every question we had, he just kept saying it's just a clock.
Yeah.
I'm like, because that was the answer.
Like,
it's just a clock.
He wouldn't say it's a bomb, because it ain't a bomb, you dumbass. What's wrong with you? So just stupid stuff, man. Unbelievable. But on the line with us, who's not stupid, who's a beautiful human being.
Who knows the difference between a clock and a...
We hope he does.
We hope.
Is Brandon Jones from the Global Dispatch. Brandon, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very blessed. Thanks for having me. And I will say, and I will defend the teacher slightly, is because of all the reports, it's not as though this actually, it's this giant suitcase thing with a ton of wires and cables, and I couldn't find an appropriate photo because it reminded me of Airplane 2, the sequel with Sonny Bono's suitcase bomb. That's pretty much what this thing kind of looked like. So I know it's hyperbole, and I know it's a little overblown because schools, they're going to throw kids out for having Pop-Tart guns and Lego guns and dropping a butter knife on the floor. But it's not as though most of the media portrayed the story totally fairly, thinking that this looks like some sort of it actually looks like a clock. Look at the photo on the dispatch. It doesn't exactly look like a clock.
Well, I did see the photos, and I actually saw it. I didn't see that you had it on the dispatch, but I did see it. And I actually can tell you exactly what places in Target that he got all of the materials, because I'm like, oh, that's that little Target suitcase. I actually used to have one as a makeup case. So, it's not like, I'm like, oh, I know all that stuff. So I didn't see it to be, if I would have seen that, my first reaction would not have been it's a bomb.
Well, I'm not saying my first reaction would be that it's a bomb either. However, when you hear the media, it's like it's all about this kid being a Muslim, and it's all about, everyone's so stupid and whatever. It's like, look at this thing. It doesn't exactly look like the clock that's being portrayed in most of the mainstream press. You guys at least analyzed it a little bit further, and you at least called down the whole school system for behaving like morons on a regular basis when it comes to this kind of stuff. Pop-Tart gun is my favorite of all time. That's my absolute favorite. I love the kid that got suspended for the Pop-Tart gun. I don't know why the kid didn't just throw it in his mouth and chew it down, but that's my favorite of all time. So if that's going to be our line in the sand, this kind of stuff's not going to end anytime soon.
No, and I think what I was more upset with is that the police chief was like, well, we handcuffed him because the only answer he kept giving us was, it's just a clock. And it's like, well, maybe because it was just a clock.
Well, no, and look, this is one of these things too, and I think this is the part that I actually get a little mad at, is that the real problem here is a policy on zero tolerance. Right. It has nothing to do necessarily with somebody being a Muslim or anything like that. It's that there's these stupid policies in school, and at a point in time where we actually could have that discussion, the only article that I saw that really attacked it from this angle was the Reason article. And I didn't see the Global Dispatch one first, so Brandon, I'll have to apologize for that. But
we just put it up today. We just did a general article. We didn't do anything that was more op-ed driven or anything like that, because I could write for 6 pages on this kind of thing and attack the school system and zero tolerance and all of that.
So, but it was nice that Reason did do that, though. I thought it was good of them to do that, to mention this and to try to bring in that part of the discussion, because I think that's it's like, what's the guy in New York that got killed, that got choked out?
Eric Garner.
Eric Gardner. When the Eric Gardner thing happened, the real problem that we should have been talking about was that they had to, they killed somebody because they were selling cigarettes.
Loose cigarettes.
Yeah, because of high taxes. Like, that dude died because of high taxes, basically. You know what I mean? Now, there's a lot of other factors that come and play there, but at the end of the day, the police wouldn't have no reason to bust that guy if the taxes weren't so high on cigarettes, and it allowed for a market for, single cigarettes to actually be so profitable that you could stand out in front of a corner and sell single cigarettes. But go ahead. No, go ahead, Brandon.
Well, but my point is, I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at the photo of this thing, if you're telling me this kid's going to walk through White House security, because he was invited to the White House, of course. We don't want to dismiss the White House's appropriate response to this here. Let's just assume this was not a story and the kid just tried to walk into the White House with this thing. I hope they detain him. I mean, this is the kind of thing that should go totally unnoticed, and it's okay for these little suitcase-looking things to, float around certain areas. The zero tolerance issue in schools is a separate argument altogether. And I think there are many, many worse examples of their zero tolerance than this little suitcase clock thing.
I think when you have to plug it into a wall to get it to work, and there is a plug that you actually have to plug in, that kind of says, like, if you were creating a bomb, you did it wrong. You needed a wall outlet.
But there was a plug on the pressure bomb that the Tsarnaev boys used. So, I mean, they didn't disconnect the plug to make it explode. It just, the plug's still attached. It just didn't work that way. So I agree with you to a certain extent, but I still think security needed to, this shouldn't get through like White House security. So are schools overreacting? Absolutely. Is this a stupid situation? Did they overreact, or police, behaving, with too much authority? Absolutely. But, it definitely is, it's good to see at least it opens the dialogue on a show like this, but it's a shame that the dialogue doesn't get to the mainstream shows.
But no, there's one other thing I want to mention about this, by the way, and this is when, when the president chooses to get involved in something, because he put out a tweet basically, Ku Klux Ahmed, want to bring it to the White House, we should inspire more kids like you to like science. It's what makes America great. Like, I'm glad in some ways that the president would, again, we should be, what he's saying is, look, we should inspire more kids like you to like science. I do agree with that one. I think it's a good statement to make. However, if this kid was, Jimbo Smith, president ain't getting involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a white kid from Kentucky wasn't going to get that tweet.
Exactly. They were going to be like, what Obama would do is we got to make sure to watch out for homegrown terrorists like this.
A white kid from Kentucky, they would have looked at it and gone, "Oh, it's a clock. Okay, go to class."
Right. No, that's the argument.
No, I tell you what, though, I think it's that's the difference in the prejudice in the system. I do believe.
But don't get me wrong. If that white kid in Kentucky kissed the girl next to him,
he'd be in jail.
He'd be in jail for sexual assault.
Yeah, they'd throw him.
Well, and if he kissed the boy, he'd be lynched and hanged in town square.
No, he'd probably be promoted to prom queen.
All right. So I know that on the top of the dispatch site that that you do have some stuff on the debate. Did you happen to watch it?
Well, I have by now. I mean, I've listened to almost every single minute of it and then some ad nauseum. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know where you want to go and drive, because first, let me say this before we go any further. Can we just, bash on CNN for a second? What an abomination. It was like the kid in school who wants to instigate the fight between two other people. And Jake Tapper, you think way too much of yourself. You do have two other moderators, by the way. I don't even know why Hugh Hewitt was invited. I think he asked what, maybe 4 questions in 3 hours.
Maybe.
I'm surprised he didn't just nod off.
Where's the? No, you're right.
Maybe he did, and we just didn't see it.
Where's the thing?
That's a good point. He was with Mike Huckabee playing cards on the side of the stage. We didn't even notice.
They had a good game of spades going. Hey,
Go fish.
Here's the thing, though. Where is something called alternating? Don't you guys set that up? Don't they set that up in the beginning of okay, you're going to go first, then you go, and then we'll just go back and forth. That didn't even happen. It was almost like Jake brought a couple people and was like, well, I'll give you a couple questions. I'll give you a couple questions, but I'm really going to run the whole show here. Well, I wouldn't say run the show. I'm going to be the one talking, as everybody just talks over everybody else anyway, and I won't stop anybody from doing anything, and I'll let anybody interrupt at any time. He really was really bad at moderating a debate.
It was the worst
Well, and
moderated
I think
debate
we're
ever.
generous with calling it a debate. It was just chaos.
Yeah, but I will. Here's the thing. Maybe you'll agree with me on this one, Brandon, or maybe you won't. I will say this: for a debate, the rules of it and everything else, it was a train wreck. But as a train wreck goes, it was awesome TV.
It was a reality. It was a reality show version of a debate.
So I will say that I was just posting random funny things during the debate because it was not anything to take seriously. And at one point, someone said, on one of my posts, maybe they could play rock, paper, scissors. Now, Brandon did comment that they should play, that it's 2015, and that they should play rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. And I do have to say, Brandon, I watched the debate, and I don't think anyone on that stage could understand something as complicated as that.
I have to admit, I'd take that challenge as a chance to be on stage with buffoons, and I gladly.
You could.
Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock.
No, dude, you could do it, and then you'd be president. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do it, and then you'd win, Brandon. You'd be the president.
I have to admit, Donald Trump's giving me hope. I have to admit. I can just be the poor man's version. What you don't want a successful businessman? It's okay. I'm okay. I'm mediocre. You know what? Hey, I'm mediocre. I'm okay. I'm just not like that guy.
Exactly. Now,
all these people are funny looking, and I'm mediocre.
Yeah. Now, who do you think?
I just try to be funny. I don't try to be funny looking. You may think I'm funny looking like Mr. Paul. I mean, that was a horrible way to start the debate.
Oh gosh, that part I actually didn't see.
That was the very first Trump moment, was to insult Rand Paul, to call out why he's even there, and then insult him, and then when Paul calls him out for being just like a junior high student, he insults how he looks, and it was just like, what has just happened? It was so. I actually kind of remember listening to it again and pausing it, and I literally just didn't do anything for like 10 minutes. I was like, this isn't really where we are as a country, is it? And yes, it is.
Yeah, no, it was. That's kind of where I tuned in. I tuned into Rand Paul saying something, but basically calling him like, you're a disaster. You're like a junior high kid, and I was like, oh, don't come off combative. And then Donald Trump was like, well, you're funny looking.
Yeah.
It's
like
he had to call him out for being a junior high kid because he just behaved like a junior high kid. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Why you were asked a question? You drug me into this. What do I have to do with your question?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe MTV is hosting the next debate, and it's just going to be a string of Yo Mama jokes. And it's probably going to be better than the one that was on Wednesday night.
Could do like a VH1 behind the candidate.
Now, Brandon, I did want to ask you a couple serious questions as it related towards the debate. Do you think that anybody helped themselves in that debate?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think Carly Fiorina has skyrocketed in conservative circles, evangelical circles. Her speech on Planned Parenthood helped her tremendously with that part of the base. She really kind of punched Trump back a couple times, and he really kind of didn't know how to react. And actually, the comment on her looks, where she just basically just kind of took a passive aggressive role of saying, "Listen, America heard what he said. Women heard what he said," and then he goes, "Oh, well, I think you're beautiful," and it was just like so fake and misogynistic that actually really separates the field, I think, for women now. You're either a brainwashed Trump fan or you're a Carly Fiorina fan. I don't know who else in this group that's seriously considering other candidates until it starts to dwindle down. They love Rubio. Rubio gave them the same kind of neoconservative meat they want, even though he was very unspecific on details, and no one, of course, would challenge him because they were too busy trying to create a fight with somebody else. Chris Christie, actually, for the first time, actually showed that he could have a personality in this. I mean, he was still the authoritarian that he normally is, but he panders so well. He lowered the bar to an all new low of how to pander to the American populace, and that really actually somehow got him points. And I've seen a very positive reaction to that. Those are probably the biggest ones that improved themselves the most.
Who do you think? Now, let me ask you a question. I'll just go specifically on one candidate. How do you think Paul did?
Paul's done. Paul's toast. He the problem with Paul, and again, I I like Paul, and I understand where he's coming from. And, Robert Harriman's a big Paul supporter, and Paul speaks to a certain element of the intellect of the voting base, a libertarian-minded group, a group that understands what a Bill of Rights even is. So standing up there and speaking in those terms, kind of like what he did in the first debate, where he starts talking about the Fourth Amendment, and that's not going to work in 2015 politics. It will only get you so far. You have to find a way to make that into realistic terms, and he just didn't do a good job. He did a terrible job of pandering to the neoconservative base. I'm not a neoconservative, but I thought he mishandled the Iranian part. He was asked about Iran, and he contradicted himself with what his, I would not tear up the deal with Iran. I would talk to them, and I would sit down with them. Why wouldn't we talk to them? But I'm not going to vote for it because of this. And it was a very contradictory. He kind of didn't make a lot of sense, and he is definitely out of the group for that whole response in and of itself. He dropped the ball so badly on that, expect his numbers to plummet.
He's like a bamboo shoot about to get eaten by the panda bear.
Well, the only problem with that, Brandon, is I don't really know how much further they need to plummet, though. Like, they're already pretty low as it is.
Hey, Jim Gilmore, it could possibly... By the way, let me plug the Global Dispatch for a moment.
Go ahead.
Just kind of on a side, we noticed that no one even acknowledges Jim Gilmore's existence. So I just did a little Jim Gilmore piece. His people loved us. We're getting tweets, Facebook likes, the whole night. Attaboy, Jim Gilmore. You stay in the race, buddy. I don't care if you run the campaign from your living room. Do what you got to do. Lindsey Graham shouldn't scare you.
No, Lindsey Graham should scare everybody.
Well, yeah, he's definitely a scary guy, dude. There's no getting around all that stuff.
It's like, Lindsey Graham, how you doing tonight? War.
I actually think that Huckabee tried to bring in his inner Lindsey Graham when he was on stage, because he was calling a war on everything.
His closing statement was so odd. It was, because they asked the question of, if you're president, how would this look like in a year or whatever, at the next debate. And he was like, we would destroy, and he said the word destroy. We will destroy people in other countries. But he didn't say those that want to harm us or, our enemies. It was like, we will destroy people in the Middle East. And then in our country, we will realize that every life is precious. I was like, wait, what?
What did you say?
And then we're going to flip over Guam on the way back home just for the fun of it.
And it was so confusing to me. Like, you just called to, destroy lives in all these other places. And it's like, and then we will learn that life is precious here in America. Because he was talking about, abortion and Planned Parenthood and all that. And I was like, what? I'm confused.
Now, Brandon, this is a little bit of a different subject here, but what do you what is your take right now on the Democrat side of the primaries? What is your take on Bernie Sanders right now? On what he's doing in the Democrat primary? We know what we're attributing the Trump thing to. What are we attributing the Bernie thing to?
This is a generation that really has been taught their whole lives that socialism is a good thing. They've been taught their whole lives how socialist Europeans are better than us, smarter than us, more tolerant than us, and all those kinds of things. Bernie has tapped into this group, this Occupy Wall Street, this Black Lives Matters groups, this whole field of motivated group that kind of got behind Barack Obama. And I think that it really does have a lot stronger legs than I even gave it credit for. So, you can talk to these folks and they don't hear a thing. You can lay out facts, they just don't care. So it is a very interesting dynamic. I don't know how you can lay out an economic plan that costs $18 trillion. It would double our debt, but they don't hear that. They don't care. They don't know what a debt is. They don't mean. And then on the flip side of that, there's a group of the Sanders supporters that don't care. I talked to a young man. He's in his 20s, college kid, really, really bright kid, and basically talked about he supports Bernie Sanders because he wants his. He's like, look, it's all going to fall apart. It's all going to melt down. If I got to pay 50 to 70% income tax anyway, I might as well make sure I got somebody in there who's going to give me all my free goodies that's going to pay for it. So he doesn't really understand the dynamics, but that's literally one of the mindsets. So, it's something that's very interesting to see how the Democrats will handle this. And I think delaying the debates is, just pandering to Hillary and what her group wants to do. But if she's not real careful, she's going to end up so far behind the eight ball that even when she has a debate, because she's not a good debater, that she's going to end up making Sanders not only look good, he'll be so far ahead, she'll be completely irrelevant.
Now, inside of that primary, though, do you think that you're going to see Biden get in this race?
Oh, I still think Joe will get in. I think Joe has to find the right kind of spin. Like I said, I would definitely roll Joe out with Elizabeth Warren at his side. I would break all the rules. That's how I would sell Joe to the Democrats. I got to be honest. I saw this story. I couldn't believe it was real. Went to it's kind of like one of those betting sites, whatever. It talks about they poll different things, whatever. Al Gore's name is actually in the mix again. I kind of thought it was a joke, but I guess there are some circles that think it's serious, and it's basically because of the rock star status. Gore doesn't have to worry about name recognition, who he is, what he stands for, whatever. They don't care. He's just Al Gore. Sort of like the Donald Trump thing on the left.
Oh, man. Boy, we're in a lot of trouble. So on the left...
I think Crazy Uncle Joe's getting in, though.
Yeah, I do think so as well.
I don't know. I saw his...
I think the opening's there.
Well, I watched his interview with Stephen Colbert, and he was not speaking as if he's going to be getting into the race anytime soon.
He opened an official exploratory committee with the Federal Elections Commission, which you don't really go into having all the lawyers and stuff to set that up if you're not really looking to get in.
Like if you're not serious about it.
Right.
You know. Well, let me ask you.
I don't think Joe will get a lot of traction unless he figures out the right kind of pitch. And I said, if I were selling Joe, I would roll Joe out there, let Joe ramble and sound like a drunk uncle that everybody loves. And then he would go, I'm going to break all the rules. Come out here, Elizabeth. She's going to be my VP. We're the ticket. You're not voting for just Joe Biden. You're voting for Elizabeth Warren. I mean, it's like, done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, though, because like in that same interview with Stephen Colbert, he talked about how irrelevant the vice president is and how he really has no job at all.
Yeah. Well, but yeah.
You just gotta love Joe Biden, though. Like, what do? I don't know. I don't really do much of anything.
I talked to Barack on the phone once in a while, and
they let me in the White House. They let me come and hang out sometimes.
Yeah. I'm basically Barack's insurance policy.
Like, that's just so funny. How you like being the vice president? I don't know. Like, what does the vice president do?
The food's nice.
So let me ask you a question, Brandon. If you were to make a bet today as to who the Democrat and Republican nominees for president are, where are you at today on it?
Today, probably Hillary and Rubio.
Really?
I know that doesn't really align with the polls exactly. Until Joe gets in, or I see things change for Hillary, because she'll find a way to eat Sanders. She'll find a way to chew him up and spit him out. She'll find a way. They're just too ruthless. And I don't know how she could survive it, but if she survived what's already happened, I don't see how that's going to totally pull her out of the race. Bush is becoming more and more irrelevant every single day. So at some point, the money people that are behind Bush, also Walker, he's totally on a decline. He's horrible in these debates. He looks terrible. He did a terrible job of calling out, because Trump talks about his record. He did a terrible job of refuting Trump on how that was wrong. Things like that. That money will switch to someone like Rubio, who's been very articulate and sharp in all of these things. And I could be totally wrong here. I just don't see. I see just the way that they all have to kind of split up. But right now, the Trump thing is just still. It's just such a weird movement, because you have this whole celebrity thing in it. You have a lack of substance. You have a lack of ethics. I mean, I just can't believe that you'd have a candidate who just is running a campaign that's based on insults, and you want to march that guy in a room with Vladimir Putin. I mean, this is crazy, and I'm surprised this lasted this long. And this debate actually just, to me, should make things worse. So we'll see how some of the polls shake out.
Now, last question for you, Brandon. And again, these are just kind of like, guesses. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. Who do you think the next candidate on the Republican side to drop out is?
Ooh, well, do we even count Pataki? I mean, I think that's really...
Technically, he dropped out a while ago. No one told him.
Still in.
All right, well,
Santorum looked really bad and made a major gaffe, and he's got this little appeal to this very small niche. He's down. It's hard because I don't know the actual financials of where, Rick Perry wasn't really transparent about how bad the money was going for him, so it was pretty easy to predict Rick Perry wasn't going to be around much longer. Some of the others, it's not hard. Jindal's not going anywhere. And Lindsey Graham's not going anywhere. I mean, he has zeros across the board, except in South Carolina, where he has 5. So yeah, it keeps him on the radar screen because of South Carolina. 95% of the voters don't want you, but it keeps you enough to keep you in the race. It's just appalling.
Yeah. No, I think Pataki actually dropped out several weeks ago, and nobody told him.
Well, they invited him to the debate, though. They didn't invite Jim Gilmore. That was part of my story. Was Jim didn't even get an invite. I'm like, well, that's not right.
I got to go back to the Rubio prediction for a second, though,
Brandon.
Go back to it. What is it that you see that makes you think Rubio is going to be the nom at this point right now?
Well, because of the machinery. The machinery is going to look for that type of candidate. They're going to look for the traditional establishment candidate. They've really banked on Jeb. Jeb looked awful. Jeb did not look good. Trump got to him. He never seemed like he ever made any sense or what he was trying to accomplish. They are not going to put any backing behind these non-establishment candidates. They might allow Fiorina to be a VP, but they will find a way to chew up her. They will find a way to go after Ben, or they'll start dismissing Ben Carson as just not having the spine or the back. He's not a yeller and a screamer and a name caller, so that won't work for them either. They got to have that. So the establishment type candidates. Rubio's young. He's Obama on the right. He's young. He's articulate. He's got a look about him. He's a minority. I mean, there's just so many pluses for them that's probably of the group that's one of the ones. Because some of the others, there's baggies. I'm not sure how they're going to escape yet. And Rubio, if they keep plugging, because the moment he falls out, or if he doesn't stay in, he's going to run for governor here in Florida in 2018. So. For him, he's like, I don't know, whatever you guys want me to do. He's just totally a puppet at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No,
I
agree with that.
I think that's very reasonable at this point, though.
I think he's been a puppet since he got into politics.
Well, yeah. But that's a whole different story for a different. He used to be Jeb's puppet, and now he's going to be Jeb. Now,
then he'll
because
just be
I
Jeb's
think
puppet.
Rubio's stock is rising. Bush, Walker, their stock's falling. So what establishment candidate's a better candidate for them? Now, they still have to figure out how to overcome the 3 main candidates that are in the lead or non-establishment candidates. And, the one thing that I think that would have helped them would have been, like, for instance, when Carson had opportunities to really not just speak about himself or the benefit of having a non-establishment candidate, he needed, what he should have done, in my opinion, he should have gone after McConnell and Boehner. He should have gone after the leadership, because if he had done that, then his stocks would have really been soaring. His stocks probably pretty much stayed the same. But if he'd gone after the establishment, said, this is the problem, stop voting Republicans who tell you X, and they won't even try. If he had done that, his stock would have soared. It would have taken away from Trump a little bit.
I think Carson looked very, almost like he didn't know why he was there a lot of times. It was very soft-spoken and oh, yeah, question. Well... and it was it was like he needed a little push start on every time he had a question.
Yeah.
Soft spoken.
Yeah, I think the best way to get Ben Carson out of the race is just give him more mic time.
You'd be like, I got to get out of here. I don't like this anymore.
Yeah, this is a problem that will solve itself.
Yeah.
And I think he'll take himself out. I'm really not comfortable in front of the mic anymore, and I think I'm just done.
Yeah. All right, now moving on. The last thing, and I did want to talk to Brandon about this as well, is that I saw that on the Global Dispatch that you have a review for a movie that's called Captive, and since your name's on it, I'm assuming that that you actually did see this thing and that you gave this review. Now, this is based off of a true story about a guy that had kidnapped a woman, and that the woman read him stuff from, I think and I might be butchering this, by the way, The Purpose Driven Life, and that this man ended up having to change his, he changed himself right there. He didn't kill the woman, he turned himself in, and all this other kind of stuff. So did you watch this?
Yeah, I screened this movie a few weeks ago, and it's a true story based on Brian Nichols. He gets himself free in the Fulton County courthouse, shoots the judge, shoots a court reporter. He'd murdered the guard. He ends up killing another agent, while he's trying to run from the manhunt. Ultimately hides in an apartment, has this woman hostage, and her life is a complete mess, trying to keep custody of her daughter. And all of this follows, I think, the general story pretty well. What had come out of that story was that she had told the press, told everybody how she had read from A Purpose-Driven Life that someone had just given her, and that somehow not only made a difference for her, gave her hope during this tragedy, it somehow spoke to Brian Nichols, who didn't obviously kill her, and ultimately just turns himself in. Now, the movie captures all that pretty well. Sadly, it'll try to pretend that it might have a spiritual or it might be another faith-based film, and it was not. If that's why you're going to this movie, you're going to be incredibly disappointed. If you're going to see good acting, other than David Yellow, you are going to be disappointed. Kate Morrow is, again, a very bland performance, and an actress that is, to me, very overrated. The story offers very little. It's the director has mostly got a lot of experience in TV, and he delivered a glorified TV movie that's basically an infomercial for Rick Warren's book, and not a lot else. So I don't get to bash on movies very often, but this is one that's pretty low to the bottom for me.
Now, were you kind of pissed, though, because you were, well, maybe you wouldn't use the word pissed, but were you kind of upset, though, because you were expecting something else?
Oh, no, I had screened this long ago. There was really no marketing for me. I just kind of, here it is, this is what it is. And I try not to go in it with too much preconceived notion. I mean, even a superhero film that I've been covering for years, I really do try to keep a pretty open mind about seeing some of these films. And with that one, I think, for me, I was just disappointed that I can't, there's not a whole lot of positives to really hang much on. It's just an okay film. And it's one of those films that it's just one of those films, you watch it, you'll never want to watch it again. And, I mean, there's a lot of dramas that are like that. They deal with difficult situations. They capture real-life events and those kinds of things. And it's been said, it's been done, and that's it. We move on. And this is definitely one of those films. I'm not even sure it'll make the top 10 this week.
Wow.
Do we at least get like a cool action scene with him like breaking away and then like a car chase and all that, like something from Bad Boys 2
cool
or something?
Action sequence. I mean, there. I mean, I think they did a good enough job of trying to capture probably what we know and how he kind of maneuvered. Actually, the problem is the actor is so good, you actually start liking Brian Nichols, and this is not a nice man. He's a pretty unrepentant man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much beyond what I've been reading about Brian Nichols, but sadly, the character is so well portrayed in a way you actually start liking him. And I actually found that almost kind of a fault. I try not to really treat that as a fault, but my wife even pointed out, like, well, that's kind of a downside of the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd think so, actually. Brandon, was there anything else that you wanted to go over this week at all?
I don't know. There's a ton of stuff on there. A ton of movie updates are getting caught up the last couple of days, especially after the debate fiasco. I mean, I think that the worst part about the debates right now for me is the other side's not doing one. And no offense to you libertarians, y'all got to get in the game. Give me something to cover here. I can't just keep dealing with these 16 guys. Thank you, Rick Perry. I really would just like another side of the coin to get things going a little bit better.
Well, as chaotic as that debate was, it was like a libertarian debate with Republicans.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the format might have been that way. Like, if you could get all the libertarians in a place like that to do that, would have been... Well, no, because there would have been a lot more agreement, though.
That's the thing.
And there would be, and the one thing, and you can say this like at the national conventions and even at our own state conventions, they will respect that if you're not supposed to be talking, they won't talk. But in between, they'll say, hey, you never call on me. But they will literally, if I'm not supposed to talk, I will not talk. I will just stand here.
Yeah, they don't interrupt each other.
No one will interrupt each other.
TV. It does not make for good TV. But you're right, though. We do have to get one. And now there is a new candidate that's running. We have Austin Peterson, who
we'll have on the show.
Who we'll have on the show next week. Is it next week?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have Austin on next week to talk to him, and maybe we'll see if we can bring a couple in for a mini debate or something.
I
like
know,
that. We'll
like
figure
Mark
something
Feldman
out.
will come and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a couple that are out there. So.
I will say that one of the stigmas on Rand Paul. I finally heard someone say this, and I will say, and this just point against a libertarian candidate trying to be a Republican. He doesn't get fair questions. He's only getting questions that are going to pin him down as looking like the nutty foreign policy guy, the nutty marijuana guy, the nutty whatever, compared to everybody else. So just so you know, especially if you have candidates that think that they're going to play that sort of role, you can see by the style of questions, the time, and everything, how it works, that they go into it with that predisposed bias. They don't go into this with a fair question that goes across the board or anything like that. It was totally designed to alienate him from the rest of the group.
Well, yeah, no, and I can tell you, if we were putting questions together, though, some of the questions, those would be the last questions I'd ask him. A, because I already know where they all stand on the issue, but B, because I'd actually like them to answer questions that are like, what's your solution to this problem here? You know?
Yeah.
And that's what it would be. Like, what's your solution to, immigration? What's your solution to, this thing here? Like, it would be, not like, hey, Mark Feldman, Gary Johnson beat you in pool. How bad? Tell me something bad about him. You know what I mean? Like, he smoked you. He smoked you. There's no
I
getting around
watched
it.
it.
That's
Like,
a
you
fact.
have no chance.
Respond.
The funny thing is, in a libertarian debate, asking questions like, what is your solution? It's going to be the same answer from everybody all the time. And if it's not, they're probably not going to get any support. It's just going to be, well, get the government out of it.
Well, but the thing is, though,
specific plans.
but that's going to be a non-answer. If I'm moderating a debate, that's a non-answer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I want to hear the plan. Like, you got to give me something more than that. Don't trump me.
Okay, how do we get the government out of it then?
Yeah, exactly.
The irony
that would
is
be
for
the
me,
follow-up.
if I were moderating the debate, the one thing I want to hear is I want to hear how you're going to sell this. How are you going to market this? How are you going to get people to, you're going to get more people to come on board with this. You can't just keep, you can't just keep saying the exact same thing people have heard a million times. If they haven't bought into it by now, that same message isn't going to work. So you're going to have to find a way to brand it a certain way and communicate it a certain way. It's going to be appealing, and that's what I'm going to look for.
Oh, by the way, that's a good point, by the way, Brandon. Hey, you know what? If we are going to hold the debate, I got to tell you right now, I'd say that one of the moderators should be Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And Hooked on a Feeling should be the theme song.
Then hooked. I don't even know what that meant, man.
I don't even know. I don't
know
want
where
to
you
know.
were going with that. You just wanted to bring in a song. Huh? You're just like, and I've been thinking about this song for a couple of days. Let me see if I can use it here.
No, it was actually what Brandon said that made me think that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll figure that one out later. All right. Well, the website is theglobaldispatch.com. His name is Brandon Jones. Brandon, again, thank you so much, brother. We really appreciate you calling in today.
You guys take care. Talk hard.
Talk hard. Always nice talking to Brandon.
Always nice.
Always nice. All right, let's take a break here real
You
quick.
wanna take a break?
Yeah, but when we get back, though, Danielle has developed a top 10. And we will give you a story that goes along with the top 10.
Yes.
And then we'll go with the top 10 from there. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
All right, we're back. Liberty Underground 1787 Radio Network. All right. So, the last little thing is a top 10 that Danielle has made in lieu of allegations that were made out there.
I want to say this. We get accused very often of using each other's social media pages.
Yes.
Now, the one thing I will say is that if you're contacting me through Twitter, nobody is monitoring that page at all, and Alex uses Hootsuite to post on it. And seriously, Twitter is the worst way to contact me because I don't even think I know my password anymore.
Yeah. However, like if it's on Facebook or something like that, like a lot of times we're driving down the road, like we're driving around the state constantly. And if we're driving around the state constantly and somebody's sending me a message, I do want to be able to respond. However, since I'm always the one that has to freaking drive, you know what I mean? And she won't, she's not driving. Because of that, I'm like, Danielle, read this and tell me what it says.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then she'll read it. I go, and I'm like, she's like, you don't want to respond? I'm like, yeah, say this. And so she types it in and then, and then goes from there. So if you're sending me something on Facebook, more than likely Danielle's going to be responding because I'm actually hearing it, but I need to be told what it is because I'm driving and I can't be texting while driving. I get in a freaking accident. And I know some of these people would rather have me dead, so they'd rather me be doing this, so I would end up killing myself. However, I don't want to die, so I don't really want to die, so I need somebody to read me what the hell's being written.
You guys aren't getting off that easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, but what happens is so that a lot of times when people send him messages, I will have read it because I read it to him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I just sit there monitoring Alex's page or somehow using it for whatever I want. It's we're in the car. The message will come through on his phone. I'll pull it up and be like, oh, hey, this person messaged you. This is what it says. What do you want to respond? Now I type it in exactly the way he's saying it.
Yeah.
So if he uses the wrong word, I will type the wrong word.
So yeah, it's verbatim. Now here's the thing too. This is not a secret.
Everybody knows this happens.
Yeah, anybody who knows you guys knows that this goes on.
Yeah.
If you've
People
ever
have
been in
seen
the car with us.
Not only that, I've told people.
Right.
I go, look, man, I'm with her all the time, and if you're telling me, you're telling her.
Right. And a lot of times, even when, like, if we're at home and we're not traveling that day, if we both respond to something, it will sound very similar. Not because it's one of us using the other one's account. It's because we hash these things out normally, like, hey, you know what, this just happened. And I'll give my opinion, he'll give me his. We kind of hash it out before we even go on to any social media. It's like, hey, we know that this thing is going to come up and people are going to ask this stuff. And so we talk about this stuff. We're together all the time.
Well, and arguing about it might be a better word to use.
Yeah.
Arguing about it is actually a much better word to use than we talk about it. No, we argue because I think something, she thinks something else, and then we go with it from there.
They argue toward consensus.
We argue to the point.
I wouldn't say consensus. One of us just
sometimes
gives up.
One of us gives up. But no, and this is what happens. So a lot of times we have a very united front on the issues, not because we necessarily agreed when it first came up, but because privately we don't fight publicly because there's no reason. We're 10 feet away from each other. So there's no point in fighting this out on Facebook with each other when we're in the same room. So by the time we get to social media, we sound pretty united on everything, but that's because we've fought it all out.
Yeah, we hash the issue out. Left and right brain working to get it done. And again, not something that's private, even though with certain individuals, it's one of these things where, hey, well, I know how you operate, or I know this, or I know that, or I'm doing this. Here's the thing: you're not unique, and I understand that you're trying to do this to make yourself feel better. However, it's not something that's a secret. It's something that other people know. So when you go to others to try to attack us based off of this information, well, I know something that's a deep secret that actually, Danielle sees his stuff and she responds. Well, you're telling half the truth because you actually don't even know the complete truth because you've never had the actual courage to actually ask me about it personally. But you really love going out there running your mouth to everybody else about it. But instead of getting all mad about this and that, I figured that Danielle thought it would be very funny to make a joke of the top 10 ways to find out if you're talking to either me or Danielle on social media.
In case people are confused.
Yes. A little clue, like a little tip sheet for people.
I can't wait to hear this list myself because I could probably do one on my own.
But so there's some nuances to the way, even though we do tend to, by the time we get to social media, agree somewhat on an issue, there's some little nuances in the way we deliver that message.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, and we're doing this, most often, like kind of the least important to the most important.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Well, that's what a top 10 list is.
Yeah. Well, I'm going backwards though. I'm starting at number 10.
Well, that's what top 10 lists do.
Okay,
though.
whatever.
We
should have talked about this before we got
Yeah,
started.
they obviously didn't hash this one out.
Well, I didn't think we needed to hash out how a top 10 list worked, though. I thought we all
Haven't you ever seen David Letterman? Come on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10. I use larger vocabulary than Alex.
Oh, yes.
That's a given.
And seriously, Alex wouldn't even use the word vocabulary to talk about it.
No.
Big words.
He would have to ask how to spell vocabulary.
Oh, yeah, I would.
It's like, wait. Oh, no, totally.
Oh, yeah, Greg's not insulting me. He's speaking truth.
He had to think about it for a second and realize his reaction was, Danielle, how do you spell vocabulary?
That's well documented.
So if you see something like, we need to talk about this in an intelligent manner, that's not Alex.
No.
Well, hold on. Let me say this, though. It might be me, but I had to ask how to spell some of those things first.
Yeah.
No, it's not you. Generally, it's not you. I say things I use very large, much larger words.
And he would spell manner like the big house.
Yeah,
not like being polite. You know?
So he uses smaller words, and sometimes, and especially if I'm not around, and he doesn't know how to spell, he wants to use a big word that he doesn't know how to spell, he will literally use the smaller word just because of spelling.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. That's totally true. All right, number 9.
So, number 9, I talk especially typing. It's very cold. It's very matter of fact. There is no passion or feeling or emotion in anything that I have to say. It literally is like you got a form letter.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Danielle's a heartless ice queen.
I totally am. Now, here's the thing. I was an accountant. I came from the business world.
Let's hear the excuse.
I was always taught that
Very
anything that someone could say, that someone could read, is going to be held against you forever, so make it intelligent. So even if I'm saying something like, we're going to take the boys out to a carnival, it will literally be like, we are going to be traveling in our automobile to the, event held by this city. It's really formal. Everything I write, I don't use contractions. Like, it's all formal.
Right. Right, like I type the way I speak. I use contractions and all that. Yeah. She does not.
Yeah.
No, it's a legal letter or a business memo, or literally, it's like, did I just get a form letter on Facebook?
It totally is.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, when I'm not talking like a legal secretary, I love to over-punctuate. I use double question marks, exclamation points, something that should not be exciting at all. I have 17 exclamation points.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, I woke up this morning. 17 exclamation points. I love exclamation points. I don't think Alex knows where the exclamation point is on the keyboard.
I do know where it is, by the way. And I have used it before.
And it totally drives me nuts, by the way, because whereas some people are grammar Nazis, I'm a punctuation zealot, and it just drives me up the wall when people do that stuff.
Everything I hate, and this is the funny thing. I really do talk very matter-of-factly, but I think exclamation points are pretty. That is why I use them.
I really like, one of the things that I liked when I took Spanish was the way they have the upside down exclamation points and question marks to begin the sentence as well. I would definitely use them more if I spoke Spanish and
right. But
lived in a
so I feel like
country.
you need to do double punctuation.
if I didn't live in America.
Yeah, if I didn't live in America, where we speak American.
Maybe I'm just being more tolerant of other societies. I just over punctuate. But no, I totally do it. If you don't see a period and you see a bunch of exclamation points, you were talking to me. You're not talking to Alex. Alex actually forgets punctuation. So all of a sudden you're like, wait, where did that sentence end? I'm confused.
I know. He like totally has no punctuation, then gets mad at me for putting up a wall of text. He's like, come on, put some line breaks in, man. I'm like, put a period in your sentence.
Well, I start doing that. You start doing the other thing. We're straight. Next.
Then you won't know the difference between Greg or Alex, and maybe that'll be the conspiracy.
Yeah.
So I like writing in a way where if I want to emphasize a word, I put it in italics. But Facebook has not given me an italics button, so I capitalize it. So I love my caps lock. I love it all the time. I will, and in anything that I write, you'll see a paragraph, and there'll be like 4 words, all in caps.
So is that number 7?
That is number 7.
Number 7 is you write in all caps?
I write in all caps. I write it a lot. Alex doesn't even capitalize his people's names.
Yeah.
Not very often.
And then sometimes he'll capitalize something where you're like, wait, why would you capitalize like pretty? You know? that doesn't match. And sometimes it's just because he hit caps lock by accident.
Yeah. But Danielle totally believes that caps lock is cruise control for awesome.
Yeah, caps lock is my italics button.
Nice.
So, number 6, okay, I use the words so, seriously, and generally.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I always feel like after I've made a point, I have to say, so, I generally feel like, and then I always will say, if someone says something that I think is kind of off the wall, I'll be like, seriously?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen Alex use those words ever.
No, actually, he actually says cereal.
He does say cereal.
Like if it's that should be on the list. If it's cereal, it's Alex. If it's seriously, it's Danielle.
Yeah. Super cereal.
I think I may have just like foreshadowed number 1, but I don't know.
No. So number 5, Alex will continue to talk and debate with someone. I will literally be like, I made my points, boom, shut off notifications. You will never hear from me again.
Yeah.
I'll continue to debate whether you respond or not.
Yeah, Alex will go like he does. It will be one after another. Oh, you're not responding now?
Yeah.
Don't ignore me.
Well, look, here's the problem, by the way, and this is what happens: is that cowards, what they want to do is they want to do something that says a lie about you, and then they don't want to actually respond to what they just said. So they want to be able to throw something out there, but then in order to actually respond, they won't do that at that point because they're cowards. And they want to be able to throw something out there without anybody being able to explain anything whatsoever. And you know what? I don't like that. And I don't want to let it go.
So I will write one big, long thing, and then it's like, turn off notifications, you never hear from me again. I'm done.
Yep.
Alex will write a bunch of little lines, and he'll just keep going. And, and I thought of something else. Here, I'm going to put that in. And it'll just be over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, what would be one response from Danielle ends up being like 4 or 5 from Alex.
I like that, though.
And he does. So that's, if you get all these little responses and over and over and over again, totally, you're talking to Alex. You're not talking to me. I don't like that. I will make one big response and then be like, boom, done.
She drops the wall of text on you and then runs out.
And then I'm like, you're not worth my time anymore. I don't care what you have to say. And that is really why I do it, because I'm like, I don't care what you have to say.
So you're the exact kind of person that pisses Alex off.
I totally am. He would be like, hello, are you there? Oh, so you're not going to answer.
Yep.
And she's sitting there with notifications off, not even knowing that he's
I have
talking
no
to
idea
himself.
that he's saying it. So So what was that? That was number 5. Number 4. I always relate everything back to a personal experience or some kind of study or legislative language. So it's like, well, when I worked at a nuclear power facility, because I've had a lot of different jobs and I've had all these different things. So it's like, well, when I worked in the fast food industry, or I'll be like, well, actually, this is what the bill says, or this is what the law says. And I always quote out something that is like, but like some kind of either it's true because of this or it's because my experience that this is how I feel. But I always relate it back to something that is like hard evidence.
Yeah.
Alex is totally passion.
Yeah.
That one I don't necessarily all the way agree with, but there's a lot more passion with me than with Ice Queen. I mean, considering that's all you do, I can understand how you would think that all I do is passion. But that is more of a dig on you that there's zero passion than somehow I have no facts or whatever to back anything up, because I do utilize facts to back up my argument.
Yeah, but normally it's because it's like, Danielle, what was that study?
Yeah. He did have to access the Wikipedia.
I had to I'm sorry that I had to do a little research on it first, and it's just the easiest to find you and say, hey, what was that thing that was going on there? Why don't you tell me that one? Right. What number are we on now?
We
Number
are on
3.
number 3. Oh, and this is a big one. Alex will break down everything that you have to say line by line and respond. And he will quote it all and respond line by line. Even the lines that don't matter in the text, he will literally say, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, he will quote it out, then say, this doesn't matter, and then move on to the next quote.
He will break it out line by line by line. Now, I will take a quote and say, you said this, and give a dissertation response on that one line, and I won't care about anything else. I only pull out the one important line, and that's it. But he will break down each and every single line completely.
Yeah, I totally know when it's on. When one of Alex's posts starts with a quote from a previous post, I'm like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong now.
Yeah, and he will quote it all out, and it'll be like someone said hello. He'll be like, what did that mean?
What do you mean by this? This is too ambiguous. Well, that must mean it's Danielle responding because he doesn't know how to spell ambiguous.
Sorry. Are you getting mad?
No, go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
No, you look like you're getting mad.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
So, my number 2, Alex will take offense and get and insult you through the thing. I will do even worse. I will give generalizations like you don't exist. I am so much more like he totally gets the bad rap of like, well, you just will insult people and you get I do much worse.
Yeah.
I will be like, I will make these generalizations like, well, if someone were to say this, then they'd be an idiot. And I won't say your name because you cease to exist in my world.
It's true.
I'm so much colder about it. He totally gets the bad rap for that. But I'm much worse when it comes to that. And the number one way you know if you're talking to Alex or Danielle online is that it actually says Alex or Danielle. Because in all honesty, we use each other's exact words when we type for each other. We don't use it as, at no point does Alex need to use my name to give his opinion, and I don't have to use his name to give mine. I think anyone who knows us knows that we are pretty free with giving our opinion whenever we want. And we don't use each other's names to do that. So if you see Alex on there, you are actually talking to him. And if you see Danielle, you are actually talking to me.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point. Pretty good top 10 overall,
You look upset.
Hey, look, man, hey, I'm not really upset about it. It's all right. It's good.
We were just having some
way
fun.
more of a dig on me than a dig on you. So I think I was sold a bill. I was sold a bill of goods that wasn't anywhere near what was actually sold to me.
You mean like the Ice Queen comments were not like a dig on me?
I'll just leave it as I was sold a bill of goods. It's okay though. I still love you both. So
we love you, Alex.
Yeah. And besides the fact, the real insults are not coming from you people in this room. By the way, the real insults are not nearly coming from you people in this room.
Yeah. Oh, did you see something else, and that's why you got upset?
No. Well, no. I mean, I've seen other things. I mean, I've seen a lot of just moronic comments and wastes of time and things like that. So
okay.
Again, it's not. No. Not this. This actually is more productive than the crap I've seen at times. But you know,
We love you, Alex. We're just having fun.
I know. I understand. It was funny though. There was a lot of humor in that, a lot of truth in it too, though. Like I said, I just thought Danielle was going to have a little more truth about her on there, but you know,
What did I
maybe
said
a
I
little
was
further self-analyzing on
I
this
was
one. But, you know.
I'm way more insulting than you. You're way more passionate about me where I'm literally saying, listen, you know why you don't get a lot from me? Because I don't care. Like, I don't care about you. Alex at least cares enough about you to respond, even if he's mad at you. I just don't care.
Yeah. So, America. Good times. All right, well, it is 11:05, by the way, so that is the show.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and we'll just wrap the whole thing up here right now.
All righty.
Website, 1787network.com, 1787network.com. We'll be on next week, and I think after that, maybe we'll have 1 week left before we go on hiatus when we do the move.
Right.
So I think we got just a couple weeks left, but at least we'll be ending off with some good guests. Next week, tune in because we will have Austin Peterson, the newest Libertarian candidate for president, on the air to talk about his campaign. You're listening to Liberty Underground.